to another episode of the Make Mental Health Matter show. I am your host, Kelli Melissa Reinhardt, and I am excited. I know last week I did a solo show for the very first time in, I feel like, years at this point. But I told you last week that I would have guests back, and I do. So it's not just me, and I can't say we this time, but I am excited for my guest today. I'll give you a little bit of information about her, but I want to first talk about just happiness in general, how people are feeling, what you're thinking, how your day's going. And I think that it all just depends, right? Like it depends on how we wake up, it depends on how. I don't know, the morning's going. It depends on how the rest of the day's going. And sometimes we find ourselves in not happiness. That's probably not the best way to put it, but we have a choice to be happy or not. And I think happiness really truly comes from ourselves, not necessarily others, although it can. I know myself, as probably with everybody, puppies and kittens and babies, like they totally make us happy. And I don't know for you, but Baby Yoda does. He's one of my favorites. I know it's not his name, but I love Baby Yoda. He makes me very happy. So, why am I talking about happiness? Because my guest for today, Anita, is a happiness coach. She helps people with depression connect with their truth, healing limiting beliefs, and love themselves so that they can be happy. She went through depression and learned how to heal and found happiness. Now she helps others. She trained with institution wisdom in wait, I said that wrong. She trained with intuition wisdom institution. That is a mouthful. So, without further ado, I will bring my guest. Anit, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Kelly. Thank you for having me. It's wonderful
Yeah.
to be here.
Of course. So I would love for you to just share a little bit more information about your background and how being a happiness coach, I'm going to move us all around here, shake it up. How it is to be a happiness coach.
Okay, yeah. Hi everyone. My name's Anita. So I help people connect with their truth. So go beyond the mind, because like in our mind, it's like lots of thoughts. So I help them connect with their soul and their truth, and inside there's peace and happiness. The work that I do is about going beyond our limiting beliefs, so things that are holding us back. And then clearing them and sharing answers from our soul to help people get unstuck in their life or have clarity or have guidance or healing.
Amazing. And sorry, well,
Okay,
see, we're just all over the place.
that's all right.
I'm like, I don't have the background, live TV, it happens, but making sure that you can see both of us in the screen. And I know I was going to try to pronounce your last name and I didn't. So can you say it fully?
Yep, Olivacce. So Anita
Olivacce.
Olivacce.
Oh, so pretty. And where are you? Where I know you're not in the United States, so where are you from?
In London, the UK.
Amazing. Have
And
you
what about
always
yourself? Where are
I'm
you?
actually in Denver, Colorado.
Oh,
So,
nice.
the other side.
Lovely.
Yeah.
And what's it like there today? What's the
It,
weather
it's
like there?
it's actually going to be really hot. So, we're starting to go into our hotter months, but sometimes it's not this hot. So, it's been really different for us.
Hmm,
How is the
nice.
weather in London?
Yeah, it's very warm. It's like really, really warming up. It's really nice though. It's good.
That's awesome. And so I know with happiness, and talking about, right, like we talk about mental health and depression and um anybody in the world globally can find themselves in this space that they're not feeling happy, that they really truly are more at this lower level and they're experiencing depression or maybe something like an event in their life has led them into this darker place. So I'm curious, and I know, like, I kind of like I introed, I have always heard that happiness comes from within, and
Yeah.
sometimes people don't believe that. So I don't know, what is your thought as related to that?
Thank you for sharing what you just shared. There's so much there as well. Um, well, I feel that there's a lot of unhappiness. It's just become like a norm, you know? So, how I see it, I deal with the root cause of unhappiness. So, we get treated with symptoms like maybe that, we've got fatigue, like we're really tired, or we've got a low mood, and we're always on the symptoms, but I go straight to the root cause. So I see it a lot in society and in the world that a lot of people are unhappy, and it's because of the mind. Like they're listening to the thoughts that are going on in their mind, and that's bringing them down, and they're believing the mind. That's how I see it. That's the root cause. In terms of happiness within, it's again with our mind, and the mind's a lot of everything. The mind's really powerful, but it's about quietening that, because it's always going, and like we're always doing something and we're always busy. So it's about just, yeah, quieting that down, like stilling the mind and accessing what's beyond the mind. So this might be new to some people, it might be a bit unfamiliar, but it's like really going beyond the mind to your soul and to your truth and to your essence, which is pure love, and that's how you get out of those places like where you're feeling suicidal or depressed, because you have to go beyond what's causing that suffering. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it does to me, of course, but that's the work that I do. um, but one thing that I know I shared too is, like, I mean, no matter where you are across the world, we all experience or potentially experience these things at one point in time. And I think that a lot of people don't really realize how powerful our brains are and how we can tap into other emotions versus the one that we're just feeling at that moment. So I love that I can bring on guests that are around the world that really truly showcase that we're all no matter where we live, right? We have similar experiences, not that we would completely experience the exact same thing, but I'm wondering, like, what really led you into doing this work?
Yeah, perfect. Great question. Thank you. Um, so at the time when all this started, I was studying at university. So I was studying and I was working at two jobs. So I was like really busy. And I became stressed, like, and I started noticing a negative voice in my head, that mental chatter, and it just wouldn't stop. And so I was like, what is going on, And then that just led me into exploring things like meditation, yoga, to try to relax, and calm the mind, because it was just too rampant and too negative, and I couldn't control it. So there was that, and that just opened up an area of my life where I explored alternative ways of living, like living in eco villages and like learning about sustainability. So that was one level of the journey. And then the next level was where I went into a relationship, and then that ended. And I went through what they call the dark night of the soul, like depression. And so it brought up all that stuff from childhood, and limiting beliefs, and I couldn't get past it. So I was praying one day and I just asked for an answer, and or to get out of that. And I remember like having dreams, like showing me the way, like practicing gratitude and showing me these videos, like what to watch, and practicing different meditations. And then step by step, I kind of came out of it. And I think you mentioned it in the intro, who I trained with, Intuition Wisdom Institute. They came into my life and they shared a message from my soul, which helped pull me out of that dark place and gave me hope. And then I said, when I was praying, I was like, if I get through this, I'll help others, so they don't have to go through what I went through. So that's why I'm here.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. And I have found the more and more guests that I've had on, generally there's always a reason behind why we do what we do. And we sometimes ourselves have to hit that rock bottom place that we're not sure what to do, how to do it. And then we must search out different ways of living, which is really cool. The eco pods, I have never, I don't know, they maybe have them in the US, I don't know. But I think that's really cool that there are other communities that you can be a part of. And then finding the institution, which it sounds amazing that they really had a message from you for you.
Yeah, that was beautiful. That was divine intervention, like divine timing. It was perfect because it gave me hope, and from that darkness I was able to come into the light, and start a new journey because they told me that I would be helping people just like what they're doing. And that's what I'm doing now. And it kind of gave me hope and to find that inner strength to keep going and change my life. So from that point, everything just got better. There was so much light in my life, and I met new people. I moved. Yeah, it was amazing.
Wow. So I'm the thing that popped into my head, for the people that might be watching or listening that are in the back of their mind saying, "Yeah, that sounds really great. Of course I want to get to that place, but I honestly have no idea how to get there. Who do I ask?" And I know that some of us are like, "Oh man, we're in this place and I've just got to get out of it. I'm going to search everything." But then there's others that have a really really hard time asking for help, which is much more common today than getting help, right? And so, what would you say to those people that are maybe in those experiences right now that are like, that sounds really great, but I'm not really sure how to do that or help myself, or does it really work?
Yeah. Um, the first thing to know is just to take one step, because being in that space, like if you are in a place of depression, like I know anxiety is different because you're looking at the future and worrying about the future, but with depression, it's like you're focused on the past, or there's like this mental fog and you can't do what you usually do in life. So maybe you're just stuck in bed, or you're not moving and it's heavy. So if there's like, don't take too many things on, don't overwhelm yourself, just focus on one thing that you can do, and just ask yourself, what one step can I take to move me forward? That's it, one step, just taking one step each day. That's like one thing they can do. Having faith as well that they'll get through it and that there's light at the end of the tunnel, because it can seem really dark and it can seem like people don't understand you. Like people could say move on, but they're well meaning, but you're going through a lot of emotions inside, and it can be intense. So I would say have faith that you'll get through it. And the thing that you said about asking for help, that kind of blocks, from it blocks us from, if we don't ask, then it blocks us from growth, moving through it and healing and moving on to positive experiences or moving on. So I would say that it takes the individual to change. Like someone can't drag you to the therapist, or someone can't, they can't make you do it. So it has to be your own choice when you've had enough of the suffering, or like you need help, you realize you need help. Um, but in that space, it's really important to be vulnerable and be honest with yourself, like, oh my gosh, this is what's happening in my life, like taking stock and looking around. This is what's happening. This is how I'm feeling. And if you don't want to be in those feelings anymore and in that situation, then you have to step out. You have to reach out. You have to do something different, make a change. Even if it's like taking a walk, actually just getting outside, having fresh air and nature, it can just change your mood as well. But even just speaking with someone, professional, a friend, sometimes in that headspace, it's like even friends, like we don't feel that anyone's there, but we have friends around us. So just reaching out to someone. And even, yeah, like we have Samaritans over here, I think. But yeah, just calling that number and just speaking with someone.
Yeah. So Samaritans, is that like is it a crisis or a non-crisis line?
Yeah, I think it's open for everything. So you can just call and speak, and someone will be there listening.
Amazing. And you just gave so many good nuggets. I love that. And I've learned this over time too with I'm neurolinguistic programming. I'm a coach, and I have learned about the brain and how depression, we live in the past, and then
Mm,
anxiety, like you said, is more future thinking. And so when we can bring people back to the present now moment versus living, whether it's past or future, but also being able to clear out and find those things that maybe were making you feel stuck in whichever area it was. So I love that you had mentioned that. And there was a couple other really great points, but we're going to go to our first sponsored break.
okay.
And when we get back, I had a couple other thoughts that popped into my head. So I will ask those once we get back from this quick sponsored break.
Have you ever felt completely alone?
Like your life doesn't matter.
One person dies due to suicide every 40 seconds.
You are not alone. Call the National Suicide Lifeline at 988.
Hope and recovery is possible.
1 in 8 people globally live with a mental disorder.
That's why empowering minds saves lives.
We need your help.
With only $19 a month, you help us save lives through mental health and suicide prevention education.
Scan the QR code or go to makementalhealthmatter.org to sign up as a warrior for mental health today.
Hi, I'm Ann Scotland, the host of Global Socialpreneurs. Join the experts, 12 p.m. EST on the Fresh Takes TV network for the best advice on social entrepreneurship. Join us here on E360 TV.
Hi, Laura Cross, your host for Mindful Mondays every Monday at 1 p.m. Central Time, where you can embark on a transformative journey of self-care and ultimate happiness. Tune in to the Voyage to Vitality channel on the Achieve TV network. Mindful Mondays with Laura Cross. Be there, be mindful, and join us on E360.
And like that, we're back. If you happen to be just listening or watching or tuning in to the Make Mental Health Matter show, thank you so much for being here. I would highly recommend going and listening to the first half of this. We've had some really great conversations. So, Anita, we were just really chatting about one, your story. Thank you for sharing where you have been and why you are now a happiness coach. Also, giving a whole bunch of really amazing tips or tools. The one that really, really stood out for me, which I think is such an important part, is doing one thing. So I know that I threw a whole bunch of questions at you, and it was like, okay, that's kind of how people start to feel when they're, whether they're in crisis or maybe they're just experiencing depression or whatever it is. There's like all these emotions coming at them. They're not really sure what to do with them. But then it's take that pause. And what is the first step? Instead of trying to go after every single thing that's being thrown at you or that you're feeling, you can take one simple first step, and really they have to identify it. It's not something that we can for them, because like you said, you can't make somebody go to therapy, although some parents with kids sometimes have to. But when we're talking about adults, right, like they I always hear that you can't lead or you can lead a horse to water but you can't make them drink, right? So
Mm, yeah.
I love that you mentioned those first steps and then all of the different strategies or tools that you can possibly implement. I think that's just so helpful.
Oh, perfect. Wonderful. That's amazing. Yeah, like you mentioned some really good things just now as well. I wanted to touch on when you said about the present moment. It's so important, and combined as well with that, what one step can I take? that's like in the present moment is where our power is, like right now, not in our head. So when you ask yourself, what step can I take? You're like bringing all your power back here. You're not lost in thoughts. You're not in distractions. So you could have mental fog going on or all these different things you have to do. But if you just come into the present moment and ask yourself that question and just take that step, and then just ask yourself the question again the next day or whenever you can do that next step, and just keep moving forward one step at a time. Eventually you start to go out of that place that you're in into light. I call it light. I see it as lighter, a lighter space. But yeah.
Yeah, I have that's one thing that I have heard, especially from my coaching clients, is like moving into like feeling lighter, physically feeling lighter, whether it's your brain or your body or whatever it is. And so when you said, I know light, like source of light is kind of where my brain went, but also lighter feeling in the body is how my brain went when you were talking about that.
Definitely. And when you mentioned that, it's like you want to move your body as well, because then that's moving the energy and like anything stuck can get released. So do things that you enjoy, that bring you joy. If you like dancing, dance. If you like to walk, run, whatever you like to do, just move your body and you can start to move some of that stuck energy and feel lighter in yourself. Yeah. I just want to add as well, like about the present moment. Some people might ask, well, how do I come into the present moment? And then ask that question. Because if your mind's busy, you can't really ask. Well, you can ask, but you might feel like overwhelmed and stuff. So a simple way to come into the present moment is to just take a conscious breath. Anytime. Take a conscious breath, breathe in through your nose, out through your nose or out through your mouth. And it just brings you right back here into the moment, if that helps anyone.
Yeah, and I know some people are like, "Well, I already breathe." But yes, I love
Mm.
that you say that conscious breath, like you're intentionally breathing at that moment. And I know when I get really passionate or excited about things, I find myself not breathing as much. So, yes, that conscious breath has got to be very important in those moments.
It's like being aware of the breath, because like when we're moving fast, we're not aware, like we're like holding our breath or we're not aware of it, like we're breathing. But when we're conscious, we become aware of it. And then that brings us out of our mind, our busy mind, and brings us into the moment. And just coming into the moment is so powerful, because like everything's alive. You won't experience that if you're stuck in that busy mind. You won't experience the aliveness that's already here. And you'll just keep identifying with the thoughts, which will either be fearful, stressful, like worrying. You have to come out of that to see the freedom that's like always here, and the happiness and the joy that's always here. And I know it's hard if you're in a place where you're not feeling that, but remember, just take one step. You'll get there.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, so since you are, in a whole nother country, and I know that in the United States, I mean, we are very inundated in the mental health space. There are more people that need it than we have availability of practitioners, even mental health professionals. The holistic space is a little bit more flexible. But I'm wondering if that is similar to what you are seeing in London, or how is life different?
It sounds similar as well. They have waiting lists, and sometimes people that need the help can't access the help. They can't get the help because they're on waiting lists, or maybe they can't afford to access those resources. So, yeah, it sounds similar in that sense. Yeah. But what we have to remember is to be a bit proactive. Like, even if we can't physically get out of there and move, like we can ask people for help to help us access those resources. So, yeah, it really comes back to us and responsibility.
And I mean, the whole goal of the show is to bring people resources like you.
Mm.
And I'm assuming, but you coach your clients and help them get to this place of happiness, and you're probably more in the holistic or coaching world versus the professional. Is that correct?
Yeah, definitely. Coaching, holistic healing, everything. Yeah. Like alternative, because this is a bit, it can be a bit way out there from mainstream, but yeah, that's correct.
It's so important though. I mean, I know that well, most of the time I bring more people that are more in the holistic and the healing and the energy and the coaching world, just because again, there's a story why you do what you do, versus you're like, I'm going to go to school and become a counselor or a therapist or whatever it is, right? But this is like lived experience, and finding, like, you found the institution that was able to guide you in such a different direction than maybe you would have thought was possible. And I think that that's what really truly starts to help people that might be struggling, is knowing that you've been there too, and you are that light, you are that hope that they're wanting to get to. So I think that just makes it so much more powerful, at least in my eyes.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you for sharing that. It's beautiful. It's really good. It's like we have to help each other, right? And support each other. So it's like climbing up a mountain. Like you're going up, and there's some people before you, there's some people after you, and you're going up, but you turn around, you help others, and then someone in front helps you. And we're all going up, we're all rising together and raising consciousness.
Yeah.
Mm.
And if we can all, as a globe, right, let's do it all together. Raise the
Mm.
energy of the world. I think it would just be so amazing to be able to link arms, even if we're on different continents, right? Like, be
Mm.
able to support each other in a way that we never have before. Because I know, really, in the United States, it's been very interesting lately. We'll just leave it at that. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know with what's happening like lately, it could feel like there's so much going on, and it could feel like we're like at a low level, some of us, like as in we're feeling all these heavy emotions and we're going through all these turbulent times. Um, but I see this as like a global or even universal thing that we're going through, like it's not a purge, but it's like a healing and a transformation of consciousness. And so all that stuff that we've buried in our consciousness, trauma, everything is coming to the surface. And now it's up to us, collectively to take responsibility individually and then work together. So even how it appears on the surface, it's like we're going through this cleansing and healing and moving into this new age, golden age. That's how I see it. And it's happening now. Yeah. And so these conversations are so important because it's like we're bringing everyone together. We're all helping each other. Yeah.
yeah, that is, I mean, it's an interesting way to think about the times right now. Is just more people, what I do love is more people are talking about their mental health in general, but also they're talking about their traumas and what they went through and their experiences. And that was just something that in the past we would not have done. And like you said, is all of it is buried, but now it's all starting to come out in all sorts of ways. But um, and we need to get people aware of how they can sort through the emotions that are coming up, or the traumas or the experiences that they went through, whether it's good or bad, right? um Hopefully some of those good experiences are coming up too, and we're just moving forward together collectively. I think that's amazing, just a way to think about it. And I want to talk more about this, and then also how people work with you more specifically. But we're going to go to our last quick sponsored break, and then once we get back, we will chat about that. So we'll be right back after this.
1,917 people die daily from suicide globally.
I lost my middle sister, Carrie, to a completed suicide on February 20th, 2017.
How does Kelli, host of the Make Mental Health Matter show, impact lives?
Number 1. Awareness.
My story, however, it isn't unique. I am a domestic violence survivor and a recovering addict. For 14 years, I was in active addiction. And because of Kelli and the work that she does and the opportunity to have my voice heard, I was able to stay clean and sober and have hit a year. I'm still here. And if it wasn't for Kelli answering my call the day that I thought I was going to take my life.
2. Conversation.
I'm curious, and I know that I've heard a lot in the BIPOC community, it is very hush-hush. It's like one of those things that you don't talk about. Like, you literally feel like it's not a conversation you can have. So can you talk a little bit more about that?
First, shout out to Kelli, because I'm glad that she asked the question. I researched you before I went on your show, and I saw how real and authentic you were. And I just appreciate the question, because it is different and we have to have tough, courageous conversations. So yes, I always say I'm a triple diversity threat. I'm a Black woman with multiple disabilities. Now, I'm not really a threat, but to other people, I may be, because people fear the unknown and what they're uncomfortable with.
Number 3. Education.
Kelli's passionate commitment to mental health awareness is a beautiful thing. It's clear in her social media posts, it's clear in the resources that she puts together, in the activities that she provides, her collaboration with organizations, and the consistent way that she continues to deliver a message, encouraging people to understand that they can share openly and to break the stigma around mental health. Kelli's topics cover children and adults, talk about things that we can do as a community, things that we can do individually, and her website is packed with information and resources and all kinds of contacts that you can use to reach out, whether you're dealing with something yourself or you're looking to help somebody else who is struggling. I encourage you to check it out.
I did the mute thing. I do that every once in a while, that I don't unmute myself. So we are back. If you happen to be tuning in to the Make Mental Health Matter show now, thank you so much for joining. You're definitely going to have to go back and listen to the very beginning of this. So Anita, I was kind of leading into, before we went to the break, just understanding a little bit more how people work with you, and then sharing anything else that maybe we didn't get to that you wanted to share with audience.
Yeah. So I work with people online, a lot online over Zoom. And it's like sessions or programs. It really depends on what that person needs. And that all becomes clear to me when I speak with them the first time in a short chat. Because what happens is then I see everything that's going on for them. Like, I see their energy and I see the solution. Like, this is what I've trained in, but it opens up. And so I can see if I can help them or refer them on to someone else. But because I work with a lot of people with depression, I see that the cause of it, like what's going on in their life, like the beliefs, the limiting beliefs causing that, to make them think a certain way about themselves and feel a certain way, or things that have happened in the past that have got stuck in their body, like emotions, and they're like holding on to it. So we help release that so they can be free to move forward in joy. And also, like, when I'm connecting with them, just speaking in that first conversation, it's like I'm aware of their higher self. I'll call it higher self, or their soul. So their soul and what's going on subconsciously in their subconscious mind that's holding them back. So I can see the solution, and their soul talking through, like, it's like a channel, but I'm conscious and I'm just like this. I'm just speaking like this. And so I'm sharing messages from their soul and I'm healing what's going on subconsciously. That's kind of how it works.
Wow. And you can do that all via Zoom?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Wow.
could do it instantly, like, now, yeah, on tap.
Okay.
And anyone
Wow.
can do this, not just myself, but you can do it. Everyone can do that, tapping into that inner genius, And we're not taught that in school. We're not taught to see our potential of what's really possible, that limitless nature. But yeah, we can all learn to do that, access our truth. And so when I talk about truth, it's that we're all connected. It's oneness, it's the universe. And there's a divine intelligence behind everything. Everything is information. And you can just learn how to tap into that for yourself and heal your own wounds and even get answers, about the future or whatever you need help with from that higher consciousness that's always with you.
Yeah. I mean, it is so I can't say like when it started. But I do notice, like, I believe in source, universe, all the things, right? And there are times that there's just like these messages, right? Like, oh, that's how it needs to happen, or oh, right? Like, whether it's when I'm sleeping, well, a lot of it is like when I'm right before I go to bed. There's like my
Mhm.
brain just like and or right when I wake up and I'm like, oh, I gotta write that down so I remember. Um, but yeah, there are moments that I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Okay, well, that's where we're going, or this is what we're doing. And I know that talking to others, like download, right? That's what we
Mhm.
call it. But um, I also want to talk a little bit about limiting beliefs. So I know that word and what it means, but for those people that don't really understand what limiting beliefs means, how could you explain that?
Okay. Limiting beliefs are beliefs that we've picked up throughout our lives. A lot of it we picked up when we were young, children learning about the world, trying to make sense of the world. So we look outside and we either pick up beliefs from our parents or from those around us, friends, society, media, or we form beliefs depending on what happens around us, how people react to us. Depending on what information we're taking in, we're absorbing. So then we form conclusions about ourselves and about who we think we are, and it's not the truth. But those beliefs, if they're like negative beliefs, we'll say, yeah, about ourselves, how we see ourselves. So something could have happened, it could have just been an incident, innocent situation, but then you take it on, you interpret that event as meaning like there's something wrong with you, or I'm unworthy, or I'm not good enough. And then that belief stays in your subconscious mind and it continues to impact you throughout your life. Like it creates situations that limit your potential. In situations, if it's like, I'm not good enough, you start to feel doubt and you start to feel those feelings like you want to shrink in your body and you don't go for opportunities, or you feel bad about yourself and you could end up depressed or suicidal. So it's identifying those beliefs that limit you in life. Because
Yeah.
once you clear that, you're unstoppable, you know?
And how many times, I mean, so uh let me reiterate this a little bit also. And I know it is interesting. It can even be like super simple phrases that we potentially hear when we're younger, that we don't necessarily know. So, uh, an example, and I'm just throwing this out because I was talking to somebody the other day about it. But it's like oh, you're not good at math, or oh, you're not good at, uh, whatever sport you're playing, or you always have to be an employee, or what are some other, well, we don't have enough money for, right? Like those are some of the ones that I have heard and I've experienced, well, not all of them, but some of them. But it's those small little, it's almost like subliminal messages,
Mm.
that we don't really realize that do get like shoved into our unconscious mind, and then it repeats over and over. So thank you for explaining that for those that maybe don't quite understand when we say limiting beliefs, and being able to clear those, because it is absolutely possible to clear those things, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And just some of those examples that you shared, that's so true. It's like you start to think that's who you are, it becomes your identity. Like, I'm not good at math. Okay, so like anything that comes up in your life, you're going to avoid that if it's to do with maths or, even things like money, because there's a lot of calculations and I'm not good with numbers. And so we take that on as if it's us, but it's not. It's just a belief, it's non truth. So, and when we take that on, it stops us from reaching our potential, and it stops new experiences from coming through. And so it's about removing that, because it's like a veil. If we think we are those limiting beliefs and the identity, we just see life through that. It's like cookie cutters, right? But reality is limitless, like you can do anything. So it's about removing that veil, those limiting beliefs. They're kind of blocking the sun, if you like your truth and your potential. Just removing them. You don't need to hold on to them. If they're not serving you, you don't need to hold on to them anymore. And so when it comes to things like depression, some limiting beliefs, core beliefs, are things like I'm not good enough, I'm unworthy, I'm a failure, I'm a disappointment. And so I can say these as just like they're just beliefs, but they really impact you when you're in that space of depression. You can't do anything. And it's like controlling you if you're believing that. So it's really important to shift that, get it out there. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, um, especially with depression, right? Because then it can lead to other secondary challenges, potentially like substance abuse. You said suicidal ideation, the action of suicide, right? And that's really truly science based, that where we lose people is that when they're not able to get out of these negative cycles and
Mm.
into more positive or into that light, that's when we do lose more people. And so, yeah, I think it's important. It also manifests or creates different things physically for us. So, physical ailments, it could lead to cancer, it can lead to so many other things that we may not have uh, moved towards. Right. So being able to clear those things, I think, is so important. And having somebody by your side that can actually help you uncover whatever it is. And I think it's so cool that you can do it so quickly. And I know that you were specifically trained in learning all these things, but I think having more healers in the world is just how we're going to start to really shift everything.
Mm. Yeah, healing ourselves as well. Yeah. Yeah. It's like becoming the master on your healing journey. Yeah.
Anything else that maybe we didn't touch on that you wanted to share that you think would be important for the listeners?
A few points just kept coming up, like they're present in the background. It's one to know that you've always got, we could call it like a best friend, like your higher self with you. So no matter what you're going through, if you're going through struggles or depression, you've always got a higher self. So in that sense, you're not alone. And you can always access that within your heart. So if you need peace or you need stillness or you need some clarity, just bring your attention to your heart space, the center of your chest, take some deep breaths and intend to connect with your truth. That's where your peace is. That's one point that wanted to come, just be shared. And another point is all about, that place is like love, self-love. So this healing is about loving ourselves, no matter what we're going through. It could be depression. It could just be day-to-day challenges, up and down. It's having compassion for ourselves and being kind and gentle, like with a baby, learning to walk, or, if they fall down, we don't say, oh, that's bad. We say, no, come on. Or they just get up themselves, and they try again. And we've just got to have that same compassion and love for ourselves. That's self-love. Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people don't think that they can do that in a way, right? Um, they feel like it might be selfish, or right, the words that we've heard throughout society. But I think, yeah, absolutely, it's so important to love yourself, all
Mm-hmm.
of you, right? um the good and the bad, or whatever you consider bad. But I love that you said tapping into that heart, uh focusing and even doing deep breaths into the heart, the center of ourselves, and really coming back to the present now, which is what we were really talking about. And being able to love all of the parts of us. And
Mm-hmm.
it may sound challenging, but there are, again, lots of people out there that want to help guide you to this place, and or tap in and see what are those limiting beliefs, like Anita, and being able to just meet over Zoom, which is so incredible. And know if you can help, or if you need to send them to somebody else. And I think that's also an important part of the conversation, is if we're not the right people for you, as far as a coach or a healer, or um, holistic practitioner, whatever you call yourself, right? The best part is that we probably have really big networks that we can tap into, that can help those that are not a right fit for us, and that's okay. So I love that you had also mentioned that too.
Um,
Any other last thoughts?
when you were speaking, something that came through was about, people that are in that space of suicide or darkness or depression. It's for them to know that they are worthy of love. They're worthy of getting that help. They're worthy of changing their life around. And even if they can't see that, like even if they see themselves um, as unworthy, or they see shame, or they feel whatever they're going through, if they can just get that help, one little bit of help, even writing it down, in a journal, and just expressing your feelings is like a step in a positive direction. But if they can just, take that step and ask for help, you can start to come out of that. But know that they're worthy, they're valued, and what they're going through they're not alone. A lot of people are going through similar challenges. Just keep going, have faith. Mm.
Yeah. And it's a global, right? We're not, I
Mhm.
mean, this is any human that is on this planet Earth. You have access to knowing that you are worthy. And thank you for sharing that, because I think that's so powerful and so impactful for people to hear. If you are somebody that is out there that is struggling with suicidal ideation, or maybe you are experiencing depression, it doesn't have to be your identity, and you're not alone. And there really truly are lots of people in this world that want to and can help. So
Mm.
amazing.
Oh, that's okay. And they have a purpose. Everyone has a purpose. And even if you can't see that in the moment, and if you're about to do something that could change your life, like take it in a different direction, um, just know that you don't have to go down that path. You have a purpose in life. Everyone has a unique purpose. And so what's happening for you now is helping you become better, greater, whatever it is, wiser, stronger, whatever you need, the lessons. So this isn't the end, You can just turn a new page and use whatever you're going through, your pain, as your purpose. Move through it. Mm.
Yes. And I would love for you to share if somebody wants to, whether they want to work with you or just follow what you're doing, what is the best place for them to go to find that information?
The website, guidedbyessence.com. Yeah, there it is. Thank you. Yeah, guidedbyessence.com. You can, contact me there. There's a form as well on there. Or I'm on social media as well, Facebook, LinkedIn.
Amazing. And for those of you that are listening, it's guided, GUIDED, by BY Essence, ESSENCE.com. So www.guidedbyessence.com. Was such a wonderful conversation. I so appreciate you coming in and being a guest for today, and really we're making those global connections that we are all human. We are all on this planet Earth, no matter where you live. We have similar experiences, and I think that we can all learn how to heal ourselves. So, any last final things you want to share?
No, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for having me on here and opening this space for people to have these conversations and helping others who are in those challenges and struggles and who are considering like taking their life, and just helping them see a different way and like a positive way and helping them come out of that, pulling them out of that. So thank you. And I really appreciate you and everything you do. You're really inspiring. And that's what I want to say. Thank you so much.
So much. I appreciate that. All right, y'all, that was another amazing episode of the Make Mental Health Matter show. If you are somebody, again, just reiterating what was said, if you are somebody that is struggling with depression and you really want to learn how to move through or get rid of those limiting beliefs that generally they are pretty negative. So there is a way to be able to get rid of those and really find that light and find that purpose and be the best human that you can possibly be, no matter where you are in the world. We have multiple people across the globe, especially with Make Mental Health Matter. We have a resource hub. If I can talk today, it is at makementalhealthmatter.org, and it is trusted resource hub. So it's under the resources. And if you want to also, Anita's information will be in the show notes. So please make sure you check that out. And no matter what you do, make sure you come back next week. I go live every single Monday at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. on Dream Vision 7 Radio. Simply say, Alexa, play Dream Vision 7 Radio. Or you can watch on E360 TV at 5 p.m. Mountain Time, Mountain Denver Time. And I'll have another amazing guest next week. So I will see you then. Bye, y'all.